Communications, Mitchell Area Youth Trap Shooters, Barklow Brothers Youth Trap.
Yeah, that's right. Jerry Albert.
Jerry, he's not here yet either?
He's always late.
He's the guy. What the hell? He used to get mad at us in wrestling if we were late.
Make him run around the corner.
Yeah, make them do laps.
All right, we'll jump over to Mitchell Skating and Hockey Association, Lucky Devils Adult Tournament. Stacy, you're up.
All righty. Hello, everyone. Thank you for this opportunity. Just a little background about the tournament, if you aren't. Now, this is separate from the Mitchell Skating and Hockey Association, just so everyone's clear on that. They do help us put this on because the tournament has grown over the years. So we get volunteer help from the association that lets that go to their credit hours for their youth and stuff. Plus, all of our funds do go back to the youth, anything that we do raise. We're in our 12th annual, kind of started with 6 teams, if you will, 6 to 8 at the most. When they were looking to go to the second sheet of ice, I told them, you guys put 2 sheets of ice up, I'll fill this tournament, and I have ever since then. We are actually, I filled it basically in about 6 days this year, and it's teams that we want in again next year. They're telling me before they leave the prior year they want in. I just say, just wait until I regroup and send out the invite. So what I've started to do is just send out an invite for returning teams, and if I need to, I go further than that to fill, but we're at 21, pushing 22 teams. I got 1 on the fence right now for this year, and this is a huge tournament. You look at state hockey tournaments that Brookings seems to get, and that's 8 teams. We got about 3 times that in one weekend we're trying to pull off. Over 300 adult hockey players, and they do bring their families. I was talking a little bit before the meeting here. I know like the slides at the hotels, like the Comfort Inn and stuff like that, they bring their families and their kids, and I saw a bunch of photos of what they were doing. I haven't typically ever come to this group to ask for money. I do know in the very beginning, when the Sports Authority started, whatever year that was, we were in operation. And I think back at the time, I'm trying to remember, Craig Stuckey would have been one of the first on board with that. Some of you guys probably been here that long. Oh, we'll help you pay for your refs. I thought, oh, that's great. Well, I don't think he took the time to ask how much our refs cost. I ended up not getting anything close to what our refs were, so I stopped coming and stopped even bothering anybody with it. Until Dave and I got to talking the other day, I start to book my rooms for our refs and stuff. But the ice time is our biggest expense. We do $75 an hour. We get charged for every hour the doors are open that we're using the ice, and we're using both of these sheets. We're starting now Fridays at noon and going through Sundays. We're going to have to push Sunday till about 4 or 5 o'clock this year to get these number of games in. We're looking at 39 games to schedule in this year. So last year our ice rental was $3,600. The refs come in at our highest expense, and this is why I got really excited when they said they'd help with the refs. Our refs last year were $4,950, damn near $5,000. This year
Yeah.
what's that? Yeah, you want to get on the ice?
You have to be on skates?
This year we're looking, I figured out if it was 40 games, that's $6,000. Now these refs love this tournament because that's money they're putting in their pocket right away in the weekend. It's kind of, I know, I do Matt Strand and he helps line that up for me, but it's his end of the year kind of get the money and then he goes on a vacation or whatever. But that's our biggest expense. We're looking at close to $6,000 for refs this year. Put that on top with the ice, and we are pushing $10,000 just for our main 2 expenses. So teams come from 5 states. Just to let you guys know, we have Wisconsin here. We have many Minnesota teams, North Dakota, Iowa, and South Dakota. Like I said, a lot of these are returners, and when the word gets out, we got a team now coming from Fargo. Our A division, if you guys are into hockey at all, rivals anything above Stampede level, because Stampede is just kids, high school kids looking for college. These are guys that played D1 college. They played adults. They're out playing hockey, and we had a team from Fargo come last year. The way they heard about us as a kid was picked up on another team a year before, and that's how hockey kind of keeps spreading out, and I turn them away. I really do. If we had a 3rd sheet, I'm not here lobbying for a 3rd sheet, but I will tell you Sioux Falls is chomping at the bit to get this tournament, and I ask them why they don't, and I got plenty. I got like 5 Sioux Falls teams that come here. They say they don't have someone to organize. They don't have a Stacy Murtha is the reply I get, but you do take someone to organize this. I love this sport. I have ever since I grew up on Monroe Park, and I've gave back to hockey, and I love seeing the guys come back and skating, and I see the families come back and as alumni type of thing here, and I get to skate with my boy, so I make sure I skate and head up a team where my boy and I can skate together, and that's pretty cool. So
We booked a team from Wisconsin today.
there's 2 teams up by Wisconsin that are coming in, so And those guys will be here Thursday night probably too, because I told them you got to be here. So we're talking Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night. These guys are in town, and that's because we pushed this Friday at noon start time. And to be honest with you, we probably should be starting at about 10 o'clock on Friday. So I will tell you that our vision for growth, it's been very evident to me this year. I've been resistant of it, but we're going to go to 2 weekends just because of how this has gone. I'll split those classifications. We have an A level, a 35 and older level, and then a C level that's huge. In adult hockey, you stay away from B because you get sandbagging A players that'll come down to B. So you know what that kind of is about. I do it C, but this year I'm also going to an upper and a lower C. So it's really a true B division. And you got that stigma with hockey players. Well, I'm not a C player, but they do understand what that means in the state. There used to be Rapid City that did a tournament. Pierce kind of does a round robin of 4 teams. Aberdeen's tries to get a 4-team tournament. This is the biggest thing that's around this area, and we're in our 12th year. So hopefully I covered everything. If there's questions, I guess I take them, or maybe I don't. I don't know the process.
Stacy, in the past, how much goes back to the Mitchell Hockey Association?
Good question. By the time, and there's concessions with this and everything too, we're right around that $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 to $9,000 that goes back to youth hockey. So it is successful. And we do, I just will let you guys know, we have the beer distributors that get behind us and promote the beers and things and give us, some promos and things. There's, another thing we do, you guys, is Thirsties. We have a social Saturday night at Thirsties that we did 50 plus some pizzas, 2,000 some boneless wings, and a keg or 2 of beer. And that's how we host this. That is included in their entry fee. And I know how to host people and entertain, and I'm kind of that, I don't know, that marketer, if you will, but that's how it's grown. But yeah, I would say between 6,000 and 10,000 goes back to youth. Now with that, I know that's a good figure, but they also work off some of their credit hours. Otherwise, I couldn't put this tournament on. I used to hire my kids for $200 a day. And all I got to do is sit there and run a clock. I mean, it's not like we have to announce names or nothing like that. These adults, we just want to play the game. So it's not a big deal, but we still need the help, and that's why we're getting affiliated a little more with the association.
Other questions? Thank you.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks for putting it on, Steve. Yeah.
Well, since Hopbrook's still not here,
Nobody forgot.
I'm ready to be gone by the time we get you to work.
probably.
All the funding will be gone before Albert goes up.
Eric Heap with Lakeview Golf Course. We are slated to host the South Dakota Golf Association 2-man championship, not until June 9th, 10th, and 11th, so a ways away, and hopefully that comes with all the snow we still got. The last 3 years, though, we've had an SCGA championship. In 2021, we had the SCGA Women's Senior Championship. Last year, we had the SCGA Amateur Men's and Women's Championship. The funds go towards volunteers, their meals throughout it. Without the volunteers, without the extra funding, we can't put on a favorable impression to all the players that come around from the state for these. And each state tournament we've had, from the hospitality to course conditions, we've only got favorable comments from everybody that's come, from spectators to competitors. The state 2-man is probably one of the larger tournaments competitor-wise. It's 2-man teams. There's roughly 80 teams, 160 to 170 competitors that come for the 3 days. We provide them basically breakfast every morning for the volunteers and the competitors, from rolls, coffee, juice, bananas, apples. That's provided each time. We need roughly 20 to 30 volunteers, from starters to extra help on the range, because competitors like to hit range balls. Also spotters on the course rovers, rules officials, stuff like that. A few of you in here have helped, I think, with the state tournaments. Last year we had, it's shown good each year. We've had a state tournament since I've been at Lakeview Golf Course. I've been there for 9 years now. I think we've had 6 of them since I've been there. So without the extra volunteers that we have and the extra funding, we can't necessarily put on a Class A operation without it. So this one, last year I called Moxon Creek in Aberdeen, who hosted it last year. They had 168 competitors last year. That number varies from year to year. He said roughly they had 50 hotels a night from Friday and Saturday, 2-night stay. Depends on where they're coming from. They're from all over the state, from out west, Sioux Falls, up north, Watertown, Aberdeen, everything. So it just depends on the year, the location of the event. It switches each year from town to town that host SCGA events. Questions? Comments, concerns?
Are we slated for anything down the road again as far as?
Nope, usually the SCGA will do their next year's calendar, usually in November. That's when I got contacted, right after we closed up the golf course is when I got contacted from Tom Janza, the SCGA director, to host the two-man. We are slated to have the 2024, this is the South Dakota High School Activities Association, we're slated to have the 2024 B girls next year. And then we were slated to have the AA girls in 2025, but with construction on the course, we probably won't have the 2025 one. But then each year, I mean, there's, I think, 8 or 9 different SCGA events that go around to different locations, so who knows which one we could be on the rotation for next, from state two-woman to, there's match play, state match play, there's the seniors, husband and wife, there's about 8 or 9
But they
different ones.
do them a year ahead of time. They
Yep.
don't go down.
They don't go 2 or 3 years down the road, just 1 year in advance.
Eric, you said from Aberdeen, the 50 hotel rooms, but multiple nights?
Yes.
Okay, so
Yep.
you put 50 here, but that could be
2 nights, yeah.
Okay.
So 100, I guess I
Gotcha.
should have said,
Okay.
yeah, instead
Thank
of
you.
50, yep. And that's an estimate off
Right.
what Aberdeen went off last year.
And you're asking for 1,000, which pretty much covers your expenses you got listed there, right?
Correct, yep.
Anything else? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're up, Jerry. You know, when we were late for practice, you made us run.
I can't believe I was sitting out at the county
North?
committee. Yeah, I'm sitting there wondering what's going on, so.
Okay, you trap shooters, Bartholomew Brothers?
The Bartholomew brothers are 2 of the best trap shooters in the world. And they put on clinics for kids, for high school trap shooters. And they have agreed to come here on March 31, April 1 and 2, and put on a clinic for our kids as well as any kids from all over South Dakota, or for that matter, even other places. I just got a call on the way here from a guy from a school in Omaha that wants to bring kids. So it's a highly regarded trap shooting clinic all over the country. And the father is Buddy Bartholomew, and the 2 boys are Matt and Foster. And they just do a fantastic job. This clinic has been in Pierre the last 4 years, I believe. So this is the first year that it's going to be here, and of course, we couldn't have picked a worse year. We have been pushing snow all week at the trap club, and it's still 8 foot deep out there. But we'll get it to where it's going to be usable, but not like I wish it would have been. So anyway, I've asked for support to pay for their rooms. I think that's the least that we could do to get them here. They do not charge anything. They come free of charge, and they live in Rapid City. And then I also we feed the kids a noon lunch both days, and because our trap club is not big enough for the number of kids, because we're already well over 100. And they do not have to pre-register, and of course, that's part of the problem. They had close to 200 in Pierre last year. And of course, our trap club is not big enough to have the initial meeting. So we rented the Davison County, half of that big room, and the lunch area. So we'll meet there with the kids. They present a whole bunch of material to the kids en masse, and then I thought initially that we might have them walk through right from the 4-H walk. There's a pathway right through the trees, but you won't be walking through there for quite a long time. So they'll have to drive around. But we will meet there on both mornings for about 2 hours. Then we go over to the trap club, and the kids shoot trap. And we simply squad them in their groups, and we shoot all morning until around noon. Then we go back over to the 4-H grounds and feed them lunch. And then we go back over again to the trap club, and they shoot until around 5 o'clock. And then Sunday it's the same thing, except they quit about 3 o'clock. So that's kind of in a nutshell what it's all about. It's a fantastic experience for kids. The Bartholomew boys just walk around with kids, and they notice minute little things. Like for example, if you turn your toe 6 inches over here, you won't miss those left-hand targets. They have that kind of expertise, which is just phenomenal that they do for our kids, as well as all the rest of the kids. We have one kid that's already registered from Illinois. I just got the call from the Omaha coach. We have some coming from Custer. We have a group of 20 from Winter, and then scattered all over. We have a bunch from Yankton. They're just kind of scattered all over South Dakota. So that's kind of what it's all about. Any questions?
So, you know, Bud grew up here in Mitchell.
Yeah, I didn't know there was a mall.
He's my best friend in high school, but Matt is the younger son, has won the national doubles titles 2 or 3 years.
Oh, yeah.
And has shot 200 doubles straight multiple times. He's just phenomenal.
They had a shoot-off, and it wasn't this year or last year. They had a shoot-off, and he shot 600 and some straight before and they never did miss.
Each guy shot 600 straight, and then they went.
Yeah.
Didn't they tie?
They finally just said, let's call it a draw and quit. So, yeah, they're good. They're
Terry,
good.
could we get this back next year? Did Peter have a conflict this year, or is it?
No, I've got to be very good friends with the Bartholows, and I've been after them for the last few years to have one here, just because we're set relocated. And when they had it in Pierre, they would get a lot of West River. And I don't think we're going to do that, but ours now are going to be all East River, and that was my pitch to let's get some other kids involved. So I would be very surprised if we don't have it next year, yes. And if things go well, we may get it perennially. Because I think they plan on doing it. They are sponsored by Winchester and Browning. You know, they don't buy any shells, they don't buy any guns, they shoot high-dollar guns. But everything else they do is gratis. So I will push for it for next year, and I would hope for longer than that.
Good.
So the funding you're asking for is to take care of the hotels and stuff like that for the guys that are putting it on and provide meals for the kids?
Yes.
You must be pretty well organized to ask for $1,735. Usually it ends in zero someplace.
So,
Want to push it up to 50?
and it's costs us a lot to do this. Well, just we have spent about $1,000 on diesel fuel just on the snowbanks, which
Don't feel bad, the city has too.
we would not have done that if it hadn't been for this clinic. We would have not even attempted it for another 4 weeks before our regular league starts. But of course, we have our high school team. We start next Monday with our high school team, so we have to have it cleared out for that anyway. But
This is free to the youth?
yes,
No cost?
there is no charge for anything for the. Well, they bring their own shells.
Okay.
They have to provide their own shells, but everything else is free. And they bring a whole bunch of door prizes. They give away cases of shells, and they really do a bang-up job of putting this on.
Anything else? All right, thank you.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
Glad you could make it.
Sorry I was late, I know. I did hear some county commission stuff a lot there.
Lucky you.
Buddy worked with me, so we go over and shoot it. His dad, Gus.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Gus
Gus
hunted with a
With the wrestlers.
girl 12 gauge. He's the guy knocked out of a boat one year.
I remember Gus used to go down the scoreboard with 2 Snickers, a bag of peanuts, and a Diet Pepsi. Did you know Gus at all before?
Oh, yeah.
You did?
Gus is right. We're just talking about.
Oh, Gus is right over on
Oh,
Second
yeah.
Street.
Bud's name is Foster Bartlett III, because Gus was the second one, and his boy is Foster.
I did not know that he was involved in that.
Yeah.
Okay, you're leaving us? I know. Okay. Thanks for coming. All right, we'll move on to the rest of the agenda. Approval of the minutes.
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion by Doug, second by Brian. Discussion. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Financial report. Stephanie?
The information was included in your packet. I don't know if anyone has any comments. I guess the only thing to point out is through February, we were up compared to every month except, what were the two? 2022 and 2020. Every other year-to-date, January and February, we were up. So I can answer any questions you have. Otherwise, it's kind of self-explanatory on the rest of the report.
February's collections are typically January, right?
Yeah. So it's when they make the payment, but it's still, the hotel owners are pretty consistent as to when they bring those payments in too. So it is for the previous month, but depending on when they make the payment. We do only have 2 that were past due for January and February, so that's pretty good. And they are working with those 2 owners, and everything from 2022 was paid year to date.
Motion to approve?
Motion by Tim,
Second.
second by,
Doc, you want to spread it for city council?
you got it, John.
Oh, good, thank you.
Give it to you.
I'll do some. I'll be in the minutes.
Discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Updates, evaluation forms, financials. Aaron? You gonna lead us through that?
Yes, I will. We finally got a evaluation form back here from Dylan Swanson with the raise and rank, the bull riding. Get to it here. So I know Mr. Greenway went through some of the numbers back in September, but this is, I guess, just to reiterate or share with you guys. So for the 2 days, total spectator attendance 1854. That was just based on the numbers that Corn Palace sends as far as ticket sales go. Hotel rooms, he really wasn't very thorough with it. I know, Dave, I don't know if you remember.
He had quite a few of the days that I remember. I'm not sure about the comfort, but the days in I would think he had at least 30 or so.
And I know based on,
Well, most of them were 2-nighters.
and I know based on just reports we get, STR reports, I know that weekend that the bull riding was here, the numbers were very good. That was also the weekend we had the Outcast Car Show as well, but I don't know, Mr. Greenway, if you have anything to remember or share about it?
No, he's got maybe, are you going to show his financial?
Yeah.
That, I think they might find that interesting, just in the, I don't think you printed that, did you? I didn't see it. Anyway, I thought it was pretty interesting, all the things they have to pay for. And this was just this event, and I think he does 5 of these. This is the state one, but there was,
Expand that a little later.
it's quite a production. And, if you want to know what a bullfighter gets, $450, are you kidding me?
I wouldn't do it for that.
Me either. I thought, wow. And I thought it was interesting that when you rent a bull, it's $100 per rental. I go, and I actually thought it was cheap, too. But anyway,
You don't get to take it home afterwards.
no.
Why has he got bleacher rental in there?
No, there's a $0 though.
Oh,
Yeah,
I suppose in other entities where he did it, they had to.
right.
pay
I think
that.
he uses this for every
okay.
form. The dirt work was an expense, and then some added money I see they put in there.
So has it gone up over
I
the last
don't-
3 or 4 years?
I
since
don't
we got it?
know.
This is the first time we've had
So-
Oh,
this.
this one is a different one than the,
Yeah, the original one we lost because during COVID, he gave up his slot and he lost it in the
So
video.
Doug, does that look right for the
It-
rental, the
It does. That's a
$2,500 a night?
5-day, it's a Wednesday through Sunday deal. Even though they're not making any money, you just
So it's
can't.
$5,000?
Yes,
Okay.
yep. And I do think if you go down, you see his alcohol and tickets. He's already advertised, I see on Facebook now, he's trying to get his VIP tables sold. Because he had some that weren't sold and, that was substantial. And he knew it was gonna be close and he told me these numbers literally like 3 weeks after the event. He said, oh, it's gonna be close. 'Cause I saw him, he's got a great family, so I was following him on Facebook for the Raise 'em Rank. Anyway, he was selling his skid loader and selling his pickup, and I go, Dylan, I said, what's going on? Well, he says, the bank's been calling, and he's the one that wanted the check from the city, but it was just the timing that the event was after the cutoff, so he had to wait 10 days or whatever to get his check, almost 2 weeks. And he literally drove up here and got it, it was that tight. So I know he's, wants to increase it, and I think his VIPs will be better, his alcohol sales will be better. We're gonna handle that differently. We didn't know what to expect for sure, so we had some lines at the bars that we don't wanna have, so, in fact, we fixed it for the second night. First night, we were a little behind the 8 ball, but, I think he'll do better, and it's scheduled for the weekend before, this, so it's the 8th and 9th.
And he plans to have April, he'll be here April meeting. He plans
Yep.
on getting a grant application put in.
I think the hotels were probably substantial, though. Number of those people, because remember he had a band and they stayed in town, all those locals, and they were back here the next morning. There was a whole bunch of people here that were here the night before, just kind of
A lot
hanging
of
out.
work for him to put into it, to come up with that kind of a bottom line.
Yeah, I would agree. It was a tremendous amount of work, but we thought it was a good event for the city, and certainly the Corn Palace.
He did share, I don't know if anybody clicked on the link, it's just a short 3-minute video. If you're okay, I just want to
Go
share
ahead.
it with you guys.
It's pretty cool video. You weren't.
Well, that's in the Corn Palace, you right?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the whole thing's in the Corn Belt, or this video.
wow.
You gonna ride next year, Jimmy? Yeah.
You'll see your banner, right there. There it is. Left to left.
Oh,
That's one of the smaller ones. Doesn't even look like it's easy to get off one of those damn things.
That guy was 65 years old.
How many poles did he?
I think he's still out there, right?
Oh, my God.
Ouch.
He got a lot of people coming to his rescue.
Hell, I think those smaller ones buck worse.
Did anybody ride a bull?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
They're only showing the crashes.
No, that's what
That's what
everybody
everybody
That's how they dismount.
It's kind of like racing.
Didn't Moody?
The movie kid wrote, yep. Yeah, he got a huge fan.
Oh, yeah. Wow,
And he
very
had a
cool.
banner on the bucket sheet all summer.
Very good production.
Every event, they had a banner on.
Did it at all the towns around the.
So how many people in the soft seats, Doug? It didn't look like there were that many people when they showed the soft seats. That
It
kinda
was,
surprised me.
like 900 one night and maybe 1,000 the second. And then the stage was sold out with VIP, and then the second level VIPs were on the floor. And
Oh,
those
okay.
weren't quite full. There was like 4 tables, 5 tables that weren't full. But no, we were not up in the third section at all.
I must have went the second night, but it seemed like there was a lot of people when you see everyone around it.
I think a couple of things we would suggest you do is have people get their tickets early and maybe raise the day of price, because we had so many walk-ins. We literally were selling tickets like, whoa, we didn't expect that. I mean, first time for us doing it too at the Corn Palace, so you just don't know. We had like 300 tickets sold. We're going, oh, this is not going to be good. And then all of a sudden we had 1,300 people for the event. They all walk in. So he's going to do things a little differently too. Different crowd over here. The people like rodeo, but it was certainly comparable bull riding to what we have, what you see in the summertime. For the
They sell beer during it, don't they?
oh yeah, and the bar was very good. Yeah.
So he's already booked for this year?
Yes, the 8th and 9th are the Friday and Saturday of September. 8th.
The only frustration I saw in that he shared with me was that he thought people would support it more in town, sponsors and stuff.
Oh.
He was new at it.
Yeah. His first year.
And he was a little short of help. I think he just snuck up on it a little bit because we had issues with sponsor tickets, people walking in and said, where are our sponsor tickets? And we didn't have them. We weren't in charge of those. That was him, and he never got them out to the sponsors ahead of time. So he is he's literally months ahead of where he was last year, doing what he is now. So
Yeah.
I think it's going to grow, and certainly a great event for the Corn Palace, and I think in Mitchell. We had one, and it was very successful. It just went away during COVID, and then that guy lost his dates because of other bull rides out of state, I think it was.
8th and 9th of September.
Yes.
And I talked with him last week, and like I said, he plans on putting in a grant application and being here next month,
All right.
present that.
Hoop City?
Again, Mr. Greenway shared numbers after the event, 2006 spectator attendance. Hotel rooms, again, kind of a bag answer, but it looks like he paid for 50 of them between us and Sioux Falls.
So combined between Mitchell and Sioux Falls, 50 rooms?
That's what
he paid for.
Oh, I see, okay.
That's not taking into consideration any travel or fans of the teams. And obviously, like it was mentioned, last meeting, we'll have all 3 days here next year, plus the youth tournament.
So no teams would be staying in Sioux Falls then, probably? I mean, everybody.
I wouldn't think so.
I think I heard the Pentagon's gonna try and do their own deal.
Right.
Of course they are.
The youth tournament will bring a lot of people.
Yeah, the
They
youth tournament,
increase?
so the youth tournament's gonna be on Saturday of that, is that the deal?
I don't have any.
I think it's 2 days.
I think it's 2 days.
Well, the youth tournament's gonna be 2 days.
Friday and Saturday.
So we'll have overnights from that?
Yes.
That's kind of tough for a youth basketball tournament during a January
Well, it's
weekend.
Christmas.
Oh, it's Christmas, so maybe they're not local, they're local teams playing and stuff.
Falls into New Year's weekend.
Yeah.
Oh,
So how many youth teams do they think they'll get?
what was the date?
70 to 80.
Yeah, they-
Oh, that's gonna be big if there's
And
one
they're
overnight.
Well, the Pentagon was loaded. I mean,
We played in it a few years ago in the Pentagon, and it was packed.
So it's like, yeah, it's right up to
And they're overnight.
New Year's
Yeah,
weekend,
yeah,
so it'd
that's
be
Christmas.
Christmas break.
The Kuiper boys have kind of started almost like the Palace City Basketball League here. They started it out in Rapid. They bring 5 or 6 teams from Rapid, so you know they're all staying. Too, so. Yeah, I think it's gonna
Okay.
be big.
So then we use the schools and everything, courts?
Weston.
Weston's gonna do a lot of it,
Oh, okay.
Kristen,
both of them.
They'll probably have to
oh,
use
they
both.
kept they knew basketball.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
they got 3 and 1 and 2 and they got
Oh,
5,
okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know
5 full
They
courts.
have, yeah.
And plus they can use LB Williams too.
Yeah, that one little
Little
gym
court.
And they
beside the
have,
bigger one.
and they have low baskets too. which I-
That's what I need.
yeah.
Really?
That's right.
Yeah, his is financials there too, and I noticed, travel, $20,000.
Aaron and I talked about that when I saw that the other day too. I mean,
Now, I guess we can't really judge what
we
that is,
can't,
but.
no, we can't. But like I said to Aaron, really, he brought in a team from Arizona to play this year. Did that drive any more people into the state? No. I mean, nobody,
No.
he could control that a little more, I think. You know, but
He had some kind of connection to that.
I know, he's got connections to all of
I know
them,
that,
but
some people was, I can't remember why, they stayed at the company in the area.
I thought that number would be high.
it is, I mean, that's big, biggie.
There's a lot of Millers.
What's that?
Gonna pay for a lot of Millers. again.
Well, I'm
Keep
kind
in
of
mind,
curious to
travel
see what
wasn't
teams,
cheap either.
whether the Sioux Falls will come, Sioux Falls has never come over here to play. And whether they will,
If the Pentagon puts it on, they probably won't.
right, because that's, they're on their own for that. I don't know that the schools, sometimes these are, at Mitchell, they're non-conference games, and they're extra games, if you will.
And
But-
his profit loss, or his loss 2 years ago, was just over 7,000, so I guess if you're looking at it,
It's improving?
it's improved, yeah. It's an improved loss.
Okay.
They both submitted the surveys or went in and completed. I won't go through those unless there's comments or discussion. I know they both selected the financial answer as far as what's the most difficult or the obstacle that they have. And sponsorship-wise, I can be in touch with Dylan and try to point him in the right directions as far as businesses and other sponsorship opportunities. And then, Ernie, I assume he's got his connections still around the Mitchell area to help with that. And then just, again, briefly, just some photos. We had that indoor futsal classic, that stayed as scheduled. Just a couple pictures of the banners. The one in the actual DW Avera Sports Complex, I thought was kind of cool where we set it up. So that's as you come in the door. This would be as you're leaving it. And then that Cabin Fever auction, that got moved to the following weekend, the 3rd and 4th. There wasn't much space to put it, but
Any idea how they did? Do you have them staying at your place?
They didn't say that, it was, they underworked this year.
when I went
I knew
down
people
there,
that went out there, and they said it was well attended, but the prices were,
Okay. I was just curious.
yeah.
Yeah, I went
It
out
was smart to change the route.
Saturday and got the banners, and parking lot was full.
Was it?
Had people going in and out. And I guess that kind of leads in just to the last discussion point. Just wanted to just share briefly the feedback from, I guess, the QR codes that we utilized We got 15 surveys that they filled out for the indoor classic, which accounted for roughly 20 total room nights. Again, this QR code I don't think is going to be the final answer or final say as far as an event, as far as how many hotel rooms they're going to utilize. But it can be a good tool to provide feedback. I know I reached out, forwarded a copy to Dave, a couple copies to Dave, as far as feedback about why they chose to stay at the respective hotel. Good feedback to the Comfort. Kelly Inn had good feedback. Emily at the Hampton. So that'll be something I'll do as we get these surveys back. I'll just share the feedback with the hotel managers and owners as well. And the cabin fever auction, they didn't submit one. We had the QR codes posted throughout. I know Nick and I talked a little bit about kind of the clientele that they would have. Not really being technology savvy per se, but I was out there, got the banners. There was plenty of customers that they had that would have hoped there would have been a couple that would have scanned it, but
Non-flip phone customers.
non-flip, yep. Today's technology.
I know for the Show Choir Classic next year, we already booked an out-of-state team, 60 rooms.
For next year?
Really?
2024? Have they even had it this year?
That's
No.
this weekend.
It's
Oh, okay. All right.
How many rooms?
60. It's out of Omaha, Millard, South,
Oh, yeah.
Millard or Millard.
Okay.
And then just ongoing trial and error with,
I only have 72 rooms.
so this is the flyer that we create, and then, I'll give these to Matt Culhane Friday when we set up. And then the Combat Veterans Motorcycle Association has their comedy night Saturday night. So when we set up Saturday morning, just a little flyer that they'll be able to post throughout the Highland and see what and who submits, scans the code and submits the surveys.
Okay. Sounds good. All right, back to discussion on the requests. Start with Mitchell, or the trap, area youth trap.